This is Let Us Interrupt You, episode 95, here on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. I'm Joseph Olivo. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, go right ahead. Lots of stuff to get into. So I'm going to start off by saying that Cooper Kupp right now has got a high ankle sprain after his loss to the Cardinals last Sunday. Expected to miss 4 weeks of action, but most likely longer, depending on the season goes. And Matthew Stafford in the concussion protocol, so he could be out again this Sunday for the Rams. But yeah, that's the eye-opening news on the day for a wild NFL weekend. That was. Let me get these scores out of the way right now. Tampa Bay beating the Seattle Seahawks 21-16. Tom Brady is now the fourth quarterback to win in all four countries and go 4-0 in international travel to Germany. First game to ever be in Germany in NFL history. The oldest quarterback to ever play in Germany in NFL history. Tom Brady had some great numbers for the Buccaneers in the game. He was 22 for 29, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Due to touchdowns to Godwin, and I believe he threw one to Julio Jones, if I'm not mistaken, in the game. Geno Smith, 23 for 33, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times in the game. Brady was not sacked, not pressured, and not really hit at all in this game. And this was probably the best offensive line play that I've seen from Tom Brady. I'm not joking. This was by far the best we've seen from Tom Brady play all year. Leonard Fournette did throw a pass at one point, was heading towards Tom Brady, but was picked off by Tarquin Wooten. Brady was called for the tripping play. But yeah, this was an interesting game from start to finish. Brady had most control in the game. Fournette got it into the end zone for a rushing touchdown. He had a pretty good day running the ball. 14 carries for 57 yards and 1 touchdown. Rashad White, the rookie out of Arizona State, had 22 carries for 105 yards. No touchdowns for him, but he had a hell of a stiff arm to Quaytron Diggs for Seattle. So that is it for that game here, really. And it's Seattle's big time winning streak they had going on. I believe they were 3-3. They won 3 straight, but they had their 3-game winning streak come to official close. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 27-17. Patrick Mahomes, 26 for 35, 331 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Had a quarterback rating of 92.3. Rating overall in the game was a 129.6 to start off the game. The 1 pick did kind of drop it down just a tad bit. Trevor Lawrence, 29 for 40, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Was sacked 5 times in the game. Was a heck of a game. By Patrick Mahomes standards, and it was pretty much an easy win for the Chiefs because they played against a crappy Jacksonville Jaguar defense that really can't stop anybody. But Kansas City did get the win. Passes to Noah Gray for a touchdown from 13 yards out. Valdez Scantling, Kadarius Toney got his first touchdown, probably the easiest touchdown of his career because Jacksonville was nowhere near him. Christian Kirk had 2 receiving touchdowns in the game, 1 from 7 yards out, 1 from 19 yards out. Kelsey got a 70 pass from Mahomes. Chiefs win at 27-17. And what looked like the game of the year between Minnesota and Buffalo, it was exactly as advertised. Kirk Cousins, Josh Allen, quarterback duel. The Vikings came back from 17 points down to win 33-30. Kirk Cousins, 30 for 50, 357 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Josh Allen, 29 for 43, 330 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. The last pick he threw was in overtime towards the end to Patrick Peterson to seal the deal. And it was a catch of the year from Justin Jefferson from one-handed against a defender. I don't know how he grabbed this ball, but it was one hell of a catch. It was amazing. But yeah, that was one hell of a grab by Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson had some scores in this game. As a matter of fact, I think he had 2 touchdowns, he had the 1 touchdown reception from 7 yards out. He had Singletary with a 5-yard run out, then a 1-yard run out. It made it 14-7. Bills get a field goal, 17-7. Later on, Gabe Davis, 11 yards out from Josh Allen. First touchdown in the game for Allen. His only touchdown in the game makes it 24-10. Dalvin Cook runs it out, 81 yards out against this Buffalo defense. Exposing right there and then. Buffalo had a tough day with the turnovers. At one point, There was Eric Kendrick recovered a fumble in the end zone because Josh Allen was trying to kneel down and end the game or whatever he was trying to do. But he lost handle of the ball. C.J. Hammond had a 3-yard run before that. They had a field goal in overtime, which led to Buffalo trying to score a touchdown in the end. But in the end, it was intercepted throw by Josh Allen. Really bad throw. And also the play that was way before this, before he even reached overtime, it was Gabe Davis going for a dive and grab, and it went through arms. But they did really catch. They didn't bother reviewing it. Just to let you know, they were able to get the playoff, which is mainly the reason why. But they had plenty of time to review this. I don't know how the referees missed that, but apparently they did. Apparently they wanted to go fast and furious with this. Anyway, Colts beat the Las Vegas Raiders 25-20. Green Bay Packers end their 5-game losing streak, beating the Dallas Cowboys 31-28. Panthers beat the Falcons 25-15 on Thursday Night Football. The Lions beat the Bears 31-30. Dolphins beat the Browns 39-17. The Giants got a 24-16 win over the Houston Texans. Steelers beat the Saints 20-10. Titans beat the Broncos 17-10. Arizona Cardinals got the win I mentioned earlier, 27-17 over the Rams. 49ers getting the win over the LA Chargers 22-16. Jimmy Garoppolo was 29 for 40 for 240 yards passing, no touchdowns. Justin Herbert, 21 for 36, I believe, 191 yards, a touchdown and an interception. And the Washington Commanders have dethroned the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football, 32-21. 4 turnovers in the game with Philadelphia, just like Buffalo had 4 turnovers with the Bills. The exact same thing happened there. There was so much action throughout the weekend here. A lot of craziness that happened. Jeff Saturday getting his debut win did not go well for one Bill Cowher, who had to say this.
Assistant coach right from playing to coach, and I was assistant coach for 7 years. Blessed to be able to go to Pittsburgh and be a head coach at the age of 34 for 15 years. I'm speaking on behalf of the coaching profession. I know for a fact that Jeff Saturday was offered an opportunity to become a head assistant coach with the Indianapolis Colts multiple times in the last 4 years. He declined, citing that he had a TV job and wanted to spend more time with his family. Mm-hmm. I get it.
That's fair.
I get it. Coaching is about commitment and it's about sacrifice. It's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. That being said, Jeff Saturday has taken a position this year as a consultant for the Indianapolis Colts. Mm-hmm. And he's talked to them weekly from his home in Atlanta. Wow. Now to find out on Monday, in that short period of time, he's now the head coach of the new Indianapolis Colts, overseeing a staff that he chose not to join because of a lifestyle. Jeff Saturday talked about in his first press conference the fact that he's going to use his second half as an opportunity to build his resume, to see whether or not he can coach in the future. I say to that, what about the assistants on the staff right now? The guys that were there in training camp, the guys that were there early in the morning and late at night, the guys that have gone through the first 6 weeks in that building, guys like Gus Bradley, Scotty Montgomery, John Fox. Don't they deserve the opportunity for an owner to hire a coach who's never been an assistant at the college level or the pro level and overseeing?
I apologize for the clip there, buffering there. I'm not really sure why it started buffer right.
Very much. A lot of candidates that are qualified for that job.
Oh, I just lost the clip there. I don't know what the heck just happened.
Obviously, Steve Wilkes, an opportunity to build a resume. It's a disgrace to the coaching profession. And regardless how this thing plays out.
And this is why I mainly wanted to talk about this today. Because for 2 reasons. One, Bill Cowher is 100% right on this. How Jim Irsay overlooked the staff, overlooked all the other candidates that were pretty much available. Now, I get it. I mean, I kind of look at this and it leaves me scratching my head because I don't think Irsay really takes this game seriously anymore. I think at this point he's so far gone from the amount of drugs and alcohol that he's consumed over the years as an owner that he just doesn't care. This is just Jim Irsay at the end of the day, try and make some headline news, try and put a spark and motivation. Because either that or he's really about the players. But at the same time, you have an entirely full stack of staff members there. By the way, the guy who's a play calling guy, by the way, or I think was he quarterback coach or offensive coordinator, play caller, has never called a game in the NFL before. Never coached a game, never been a coordinator before, never did any of this. I forgot what his name was. It's something Parks. I don't have the name in front of me. But just that alone makes Bill Cowher 100% right. That's a Hall of Fame head coach, first ballot Hall of Fame head coach. A guy who's won a Super Bowl championship with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's been around the Steelers organization for years. I don't understand how in the world Jeff Saturday, former offensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts, Super Bowl champion, multiple times in a Pro Bowl, guy who was never coached in college or in the NFL, but only coached in high school. To me, I look at this, I say to myself, like, how did he get the job? He came back as a consultant. And I don't think Saturday he really wanted the job, but he was just given the job. And that's what leaves me scratching my head. It does. And nothing against Jeff Saturday. I mean, congrats on the win and stuff like that. You deserve it. You made a smart move by starting Matt Ryan. And I think the fact that you look at Sam Allen's practice and said, boy, does this guy suck. He sucks. It's a no-brainer of why that happened. It really is a no-brainer of why that turned out the way it turned out. That the Colts were going to win this game. If Sam would have started, forget it, the Colts would have gotten blown out, which is why I picked the Colts to win the game. Most of my picks actually went out well. I do apologize that the podcast was canceled on Saturday. Unfortunately, you couldn't see what I had picked over the weekend because of a issue of location. Wi-Fi here is working great. I'm back in my house again, by the way. I forgot to mention earlier on the show. I know I'm mentioning it now 12 minutes into the show, but I figured I wanted to bring it up. Being nice, being the nice guy that I am. At least I try to be. Anyway, I'll give you some NCAA news. Actually, before I do, Devin McCourty was also on the NFL pregame show for CBS Sports, NFL Today. Was comparing his time with Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator and Joe Judge, and he said, "Oh, it was so much different." I'm paraphrasing here by saying this, but he basically said that Daboll had a better relationship with the team than Judge has it now. It was so much different. Basically saying, how it's so different now with Joe Judge and Patricia there, and not with Daboll and Judge. I guess. I mean, I don't know. It just the way it was described. I mean, I kind of get the gist of it. The gist is right now is not all the Patriots now are buy-ins right now in Joe Judge and Matt Patricia. It's understandable because right now they're in last place right now in the AFC East in their division. I kind of understand where they're coming from with this whole thing. And I think realistically here, because I remember Daboll's time here, Daboll, I think honestly, and I'm just being realistic here about Daboll's time right now as a coordinator for the Patriots. Between Daboll and Charlie Weiss, I couldn't think of the name just now. It just popped up. But just the fact that Charlie Weiss was a coordinator here, along with in his time in New England. They both had the same similarities, except the difference is that Daboll was a better coach. I think Charlie Weiss declined once he left the Patriots and went to go coach for Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The fact of the matter is that they're paying you $20 million to stay away. It's definitely a reason for it. But Brian Daboll, I think, has been an excellent head coach over the Giants. Team is 7-2. They got the win over the weekend against the Houston Texans. Good for him. Well-deserved, in my opinion. And that's that. I don't know what's going on with ESPN today. I was trying to give you the scores on the I think I have it right here. I don't know what there was some upset that happened over the weekend. Purdue actually did get the win over Illinois. Actually, I might be able to pull it up right here on my phone because at this point, this thing is really starting to slow down. Oh, here it is. Here are your scores right here. Michigan beating Nebraska 34-3. Notre Dame beating Navy 35-32. Ohio beating Indiana 56-14. Clemson 31. Louisville 16. TCU dominated in Texas, beating Texas Longhorns 17-10. USC beat Colorado 55-17. LSU beat Arkansas 13-10. Vanderbilt got the upset over Kentucky 24-21 in Kentucky. Tennessee beat Missouri 66-24. Okay, we have Washington beating Oregon 37-34. Georgia beating Mississippi State 45-19. Central Florida getting the upset over Tulane 38-31. Boston College going to North Carolina State and beating North Carolina State 21-20. And Penn State beating Maryland 30-0. Alabama beating Ole Miss 30-24. I think I could get the Purdue Illinois score if I didn't. Purdue won 31-24. I think that's all I have for scores, I believe. Oh yeah, Utah beat Stanford 42-7. UCLA losing at home to Arizona 34-28. Oh, and Florida State beating Syracuse 38-3 in a dominating fashion. And North Carolina beating Wake Forest 36-34. Kansas State beating Baylor 31-3. So that was all that news, all that jazz in one fell swoop. I wasn't going to give you all the stats on here, but I am short on time today. So I will leave you with this right now with some I'll circle my way back to the NFL news today about Bill Belichick, who was on record today. Was during a press conference. I think it was today, or I think it was this morning, actually. But he said he wanted to see a key change in the NFL. He pointed out a controversial play that happened during the Vikings-Bill game as an example of why the rules should be changed, which is allowing the challenges after the 2 minutes of each half, and also in overtime, instead of relying on a replay booth review. Anyway, this is what Belichick said. Provided that the team has a challenge, they should have the opportunity to challenge really any play, Belichick said. I'm on record on that. That subject came up in the Monday due to a controversial play in Minnesota's win over Buffalo, which was the Gabriel Davis catch that everyone was talking about that he basically dropped. There were a lot of misplays that happened in this game. Anyway, this is what also I think there's more to what Bill had said here. There have been other examples of that, plays that have occurred in situations where teams couldn't challenge because the rules prohibit it. I get a forward progress and things like that you can't challenge. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying not having the ability to challenge a play that could impact the outcome of the game. Even calls like holding and pass interference and things like that, I don't see why those plays can't be reviewed by a coach's challenge. So that was what Bill Belichick had said on record right now. I would go into Kevin O'Connor's quoting on this whole thing, but I think Bill's right at the end of the day. I don't see why the coaches can't challenge this. I don't even understand why there's even a rule against it. To me, it's like it's such an obvious rule change that should have been done years ago. I think the reality that you're relying on the replay booth, the referees and the replay people up in New York to actually do something down there in New York and actually watch all 32 teams on one big giant like variety of flat screen TVs. I mean, I get it. It's a lot of work, but if you throw the flag, it's like an alert on your phone going off, like ding, 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 like there's the flag. I mean, you got all the feed and the live feed at the right moment, at the right time. It's not too much to ask. It's not too much to ask for these referees to get better at their jobs too. But, it's not easy. I get it. Very high pressure, dealing with 75 to maybe 100,000 fans sometimes. I get it. And you're dealing with over 160 men on an NFL roster combined from both teams. So you have to look at that from that, and I do look at that from that perspective. I do. That's a lot of pressure. I get it. But you mean to tell me right now that they couldn't even review this for 1 second and think like, maybe we should think about this? Because right now, I mean, I think either way, the whole booth review thing is kind of ridiculous either way. I don't think there's really a point. And here's another thing that really gets me is why they only have 3 challenges. And most of the time, the second one fails. Why does it have to be like if you pass the first challenge, you keep the other two challenges. But if you fail the second one, then you can't use your third challenge. I just never understood that logic. I don't think that's really fair to anybody else either. I think that, I mean, to me, you're losing a timeout. I get that. But you have to lose a challenge, the last challenge too. I say, let's say you fail the first challenge. And I think they should have 4 challenges anyway, because why not? Because everything's crucial now these days anyway. But go back to my point for a minute. Go back to the first challenge. If you fail the first challenge, you forfeit one challenge. Like let's say you have 4 challenge flags, you forfeit the last challenge that you can use later on in the game, but you can keep the other 2. So you only have 2 left in this thing. And if you fail the second challenge, well, you forfeit the last challenge. You forfeit 2 challenges by losing 2 challenges. I think that's fair. Now, it may not sound right to some people, but I just thought about this like on my way, like when I was reading it today at work. And I just thought it makes a lot of sense. Seriously, it does. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, really. I really don't think there was anything wrong with that at all. But yeah, I mean, I kind of have a hard time believing that the NFL wouldn't consider thinking about this rule change. And if they don't think about this rule change now, with the likes of Bill Belichick, one of the greatest head coaches of all time, to think about, for that to be uttered, and all the other coaches to go right along with it and agree with on it, then the NFL has got a self-imaging problem when it comes to their ownerships and their referees, to looking too far into the past and not into the future. And that's going on based on not just this, but also with NFL lack of black head coaches too. So, continuing on the NFL for just a second. This is according to ESPN.com. The NFL wants to keeps the European tour going now that Germany has joined the Britain in hosting games. Spain and France wants to join in on the ordeal. Spain and France are atop of the league's wishes list as it continues to look internationally for revenue growth. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and beat the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday 21-16 at Allianz Arena, a first Germany as part of a 4-year deal that the league hopes will extend long term. London has had host regular season games since 2007. Beyond Germany, which could also get additional games soon, the league's analysis of fan growth and commercial potential puts Spain and France very much on the radar. Brett Gosper, the NFL head of UK and Europe, told the Associated Press today in an interview. He said, quote, "We need to do our homework to make sure that there is the possibility of a place to land any games in those markets, gauge interest of the host stadia, which is stadium, gauge an interest of the host city, even the government, as to their enthusiasm to help us bring a game," end quote. I hope they do this. It gives me an excuse to go to Italy, go through Spain, to watch an NFL football game, because I wasn't big on going to Italy or Spain, because I was more of a guy that wanted to go to Switzerland. I hope the NFL goes to Switzerland too. I hope they do. New Zealand, Switzerland. I hope they go through with it. I really hope they do. Because honestly, it really should just be a growth, not really just for the NFL, but it really should be growth for college football too. Like think about it. You have the study travel thing that these teams do, but they don't. You never see the NCAA level go to different countries. Maybe it's mature level. Maybe it's for other reasons for it, financial wise, for college and schools. I get it if that's the reasoning for it. But I thought about the NCAA football, and I think to myself, it would make more sense if they get the experience too. But the NFL, I think they should all be in on this. And right now, if it gets me to go to Italy, because my mom wants me to go so bad, I think there's people that are friends of mine that actually want to go to Italy as well. So you know what? If we can go during NFL season, count me in. That's how I look at it. Count me in. I like that deal a lot. It's a hell of an idea. Hockey Hall of Fame class of 2022 happened over the week. I think it happened over the weekend. Vancouver Canucks legend Roberto Luongo and the Sadin brothers were the headline group of the class in 2022, along with 6 inductees. Here is the following inductees. The Hockey Hall of Fame has inducted its class of 2022 with a trio of former Vancouver Canucks taking center stage. Henrik Sadin, Daniel Sadin, Robert Luongo, Daniel Alfredsson, Rikia Saline, and Herb Carnage were all immortalized in the Hall of Fame over the weekend. So again, congratulations to the class of the 2022 Hockey Hall of Fame. We don't really get to talk a lot about the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't think at any point, I don't even know who was in the class of 2021. It makes me want to do my research now on this whole thing, if I can. Anyway, there's more sports news today right now. There's a baseball news today right now. Tyler Anderson, former pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, now going to a crosstown rival to the Los Angeles Angels on a 3-year qualifying offer. The deal not going to be available. Anthony Rizzo is staying with the Yankees. He agreed to a multi-year deal. And the Rays trade away their infielder Miles Mastrobury to the Cubs for a minor leaguer right-hander Alfredo Zaraga. That was announced early today. And Charlotte football team hires a key Harbor aide, Bill Pogge, credited with helping lead the Michigan recent resurgence, takes the 49ers job after firing of Will Healy. So Biff Pogge. Remember that name, folks. Biff Pogge will now be the head coach right now for the Charlotte 49ers right now in the NCAA. That is pretty much that I think I have here as far as news goes. Oh, yeah. Odell Beckham Jr. I almost forgot about this one. Odell Beckham Jr. is suing Nike for nearly $30 million of payments that were owed to him, I guess, for advertising that he was never paid for, as according to CBS Sports. I don't think that really there's much else to talk about right now. The Celtics won last night. Jason Tatum got a huge night last night with the Celtics. A lot of big-time Celtics winners right now, as they are winner chicken dinner almost every night. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder last night. They've had a pretty good streak going on right now. They are right now, I believe, the amongst the NBA top right now in the league right now. I'll give you the scores from last night pretty quickly. Raptors beat the Pistons 115-111. Celtics beat the Thunder 126-122. Clippers beat the Rockets 122-106. Warriors beat the Spurs 132-95. Hornets beat the Magic 112-105. Heat win 113-112. Hawks beat the Bucks 121-106. For Tatum last night, who had a big night last night, it scored 27 points on that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 37 points. Tatum went 9 for 23. He went 8 for 10 for free throws. Marcus Smart had 20 points last night. Jaylen Brown had about 22. Oh, no, Smart had 22. Sorry. Jaylen Brown had 26 last night. And Grant only had 7 points last night. Not really much to say about the bench really performing last night, other than White and Pritchard combined for 26 points. White had 16, Pritchard had 10. Give you the NHL scores really quickly from last night. Not really much happened for NHL last night. No Bruins talk. Bruins did not get a lot of playing time last night. They are playing, I think they're playing tomorrow night, I believe. Islanders beat the Senators last night 4-2. Flames beat the Kings 6-5. Hurricanes shot out the Blackhawks 3-0. Blues beat the Avalanche 3-2 last night. On Sunday, the Bruins got the win over the Vancouver Canucks 5-2. Stars beat the Flyers 5-1. Rangers beat the Coyotes 4-1. Sharks beat the Wild in shootout 3-2. Lightning beat the Capitals 6-3, and the Jets beat the Kraken 3-2 in overtime. That was on the Sunday slate. Bruins so far are 14-2 with the best record in hockey, and the Celtics, I believe, are 12-3 with the best record in the NBA. So that's a good sign right now for all intents and purposes right now. Just a lot of good stuff going forward with this. It is very telling here. It's very, very intriguing, this hockey and basketball season for out there. For anybody out there who's a hockey and big-time basketball fan, which I am, Tatum's on the money. He's been great lately. Tatum is gonna take this team to the promised land. Jaylen Brown right now, at this point, trying to get his trade value up because he wants out of Boston. And I think Boston's feeling the same way. I think the fan base is feeling the same way. at this point. They wanted Durant. They couldn't get Durant. They're stuck with Jaylen Brown right now at this point, who knows that Boston was trying to force him out. And it is what it is. I mean, you can't change how you feel. That if you want out of there, great. We'll let you go. There's really no sense of keeping you around, really, if you're not happy about being here. So that's that. Anyway, that's it. That's it for the show. Very short show. Again, I'm in a little bit of a rush because my truck is well, I had a little incident with the truck the other day, and let's just say that the ladder rack is swinging back and forth. So if you see a pickup truck of mine, who I'm borrowing from my father, swinging back and forth like this, if you see a truck going like this with a ladder rack, yeah, that'll be me on the highway. But anyway, that will be taken care of as soon as possible. But yeah, that is it. Like, subscribe. Again, would do this video very good. Be much appreciated. I am signing off here. Mike will be here on Saturday, I believe. I'll probably be taking this podcast back on the road again. Could not do the show last week due to location issues, and due to the fact right now that I really had no time to really even do it at all. This past week was a mess. Just gonna let's leave it at that. It was a mess. So I'll try to do this show on Saturday. I promise. I'm not gonna let you fan bases down. And to all your subscribers out there, thank you so much for hanging in there, watching the show. Even if you don't watch the show, it's okay. You can still watch it at any time right now on YouTube.com. You can search it, Let Us Interrupt You. Name of this podcast, type it in. You watch it anytime. You can also, if you follow me on Facebook, like I say, you can click on the link from there. I always leave the link there every time I post a link, every chance I get. I do have the Let Us Interrupt You page itself. So if you guys want to just follow that page as well, that would be much appreciated. And I'm going to sign off. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I will be here on Saturday. I think there's really not much else to cover, really, this week other than NFL picks. I promise we'll have our picks. We'll have a show. Mike will definitely be here for sure. And that's that. So have a good night, guys. I'm out.